Hi everyone. Hope everyone's having a good week so far. Um, so I guess just reflecting on this week's readings and then trying to, put things into like real life perspective, and using what we've learned and implementing that. I guess just starting, like, one of the readings that caught my eye was the nonviolent form of communication, and that whole article really just reminded me of like when I spent some time in India and like I studied Jainism. They have like the Jain hand. It's like the symbol, and it really means to just like stop, take like a breath, breathe, and try to be more in the present moment. And I remember, where did they say? It was like, what is it? It was like nonviolent communication is a language of life, and it helps us transform old patterns of defensiveness and aggressiveness into compassion and empathy, which improves the quality of all our relationships. And that was a big thing. Like, I remember, like, one line I remember from my time in India was, it was like, one silence wins 100 arguments. And they had the whole thing where it's like, you really have to take a minute to just stop. And like Jain philosophy is just like, stop, breathe, and take a moment for a second, ground yourself. And there was another article, I'm pretty sure, that talked about like breathing and just becoming right back to the present moment, feeling grounded before you react instantly off like your instinct and emotion. Another thing that like I remember is like, it is like, that whole article just reminded me of Jainism for some reason, I don't know. But it said, like, I remember my teacher gave the example of when you point the finger and blame at someone, like one finger you're blaming, but the other three are coming right back at you. So like you're trying to hurt someone by blaming, but like three more fingers are hurting yourself. So like you're causing yourself more pain than if you're just would just like stop and take a minute and really look at a situation. So this week I really tried to like put in all my like relationships. I really tried to use what we were learning in class with like empathetic listening and like just really thinking about like the interest, like positions and needs. So the first one, I felt like this exercise was pretty hard. For one, like I have my friend, I'm not going to say names, but like one of my friends had a huge fight with her sister and ended up like messing up her car. And, I go to right back to like problem solving mode, being like, well, this is what you should do, like pay for the thing you broke, apologize to her. And I wasn't really, being a good listener because, because I'm friends with both of them, like the two sisters, but I'm closer with the girl that obviously I was talking to. But I feel like in that regard, like I feel like after I'd done all my readings and like really thought, I was like, damn, I could have done that much better. Because she was feeling really frustrated and like not listening, and I was just really just giving her like solutions, like, oh, this is the problem, you should do this, and like, oh, let's work on this, like what do you think you should do, rather than just sitting there and listening. So like I remember talking to her later in the week because she was very upset, and like later in the week I just sat down and like talked to her for like an hour and a half, and we were just like, I was just letting her talk and like using the things that I read in the articles and just really like letting her speak and coming to her own solutions, like, oh, I should do this. And when she asked for my advice, then give the advice that's needed. What I thought was really fascinating was the preamble, sorry. Which just like stops yourself. Like I have to really stop myself from doing that, because I feel like I do that a lot. Like, oh, you feel really upset, I feel that you feel upset about this, where it's like, what was the line they had? It's like, these responses tend to anger and frustrate people. They feel like they're being like psychoanalyzed rather than being understood. And I don't necessarily mean to, but like I definitely did that in the situation. I remember talking to her after, being like, hey, listen, like I apologize, like it was definitely my bad, like I should have been a better friend and like just let you, discuss what you wanted to discuss, and like this way I can actually listen rather than giving you, right back into like problem solving mode. Sorry, I've been working a lot. I'm in my car and some woman's staring at me. What else? So then I did this again, the same exercise with one of my ex-boyfriends, because we were like talking. I don't know, it was very confusing. But he ended up hurting me on like 4th of July, and like he really hurt my feelings for like what he did. And I remember, like, I was like, okay, well, I just want to talk about it. And, like, because he wanted to, like, talk to me. And I was like, listen, like, when you did this, and I did the when, because I feel like when you say you, it definitely makes some people feel more, like, defensive. And, like, it's just a habit of how I, like, talk, or just how people talk in general. But I was like, well, when you did, you know, this, and this, I thought I was being, it hurt my feelings because, you know, like, I was very explicit of what I wanted and, like, very clear of how I felt. And when you didn't do that, I felt like, you know, like, you weren't listening. It made me very frustrated. And I feel like when I was talking to him, I feel like I got my point across much more easily without, like, arguing and fighting. And, like, we really had, like, a conversation and a discussion. There was some things where I feel like I could have done better, where it's like, because I got emotional. I don't know if it's just, you know, me being young, or just, like, because it's, like, someone who like, I had a relationship with. You know, but just taking that moment and be like, well, hold on one second. Let me just take a moment to, like, just breathe and just, like, relax. Be like, I'm not angry at you. You know, I'm just angry at the situation or, like, the actions. But, like, in general, I'm not mad. And, like, making sure you reassure the other person. And then hearing their side, too. And I feel like that's something that's, like, I really have taken away from all these, like, the exercises. Like, you know, it goes both ways. You know, like, while listening, while also, like, trying to get your point across and talk. But it was just hard because sometimes, like, you get triggered by certain things, and you have to, like, even if they, like, they really bother you, but, like, you have to, like, right back to the Jainism way, like, stop, breathe. And you can play the blame game, but you're only going to hurt yourself more, you know, when you point the finger, 3 more pointing at you. So I feel like that's something I really have taken away from this exercise. The final example, I think, was the most successful. I haven't really talked to, like, my mother in a long time because of, like, my brother's not well. So he ended up, like, attacking me and my grandmother, like, during Christmas time, like, last year. So I was like, you know, honestly, like, the other things, like, my friend, it's, like, her issues, and, like, the ex-boyfriend thing, like, that's, like, its own thing. But this was something, like, I really, like, after trying it out twice, like, I was like, okay, well, let me sit down with my mom. Like, I don't think I'm going to talk to my brother yet, because it's, like, too, what did they say, high-risk situations. Sorry. But, like, I wanted to discuss it with my mom, because I was like, I haven't really talked to her. Because, like, I felt like she really just, like, she's like, oh, brothers and sisters fight, and, like, Liam's not well, you know. So, you know, like, what do you want me to do? Like, he's mentally unwell, like, he needs a lot of help, like, I can't do anything. And it's like, okay, so I haven't really talked because I felt kind of abandoned and, like, not being heard. You know, like, during that time, like, last December, like, I had to go to the hospital and everything. So then I sat down and I was like, well, listen, like, and another thing is, like, what did we talk about? It was, like, certain types of listening. Like, my mom is not really a good listener. Like, she will play on her phone while you're talking, or, like, won't make eye contact, and it really bothers me. So I was like, listen, like, when I'm trying to have a conversation with you about something that I find very serious, and, like, you look down at your phone, like, it makes me feel like you're not listening to me, you don't value what I have to say, and it makes me not want to engage and, like, have a conversation with you. And she's like, oh, I don't mean it that way, I'm just looking down, like, I just feel uncomfortable sometimes. And, like, I feel like then we started to have, like, a real dialogue. And, like I said, I haven't really talked to my mom since, like, December, you know, because she didn't know what to do. She's like, oh, my brother is very, you know, very unwell right now. And then having the conversation, I was like, oh, well, when you didn't ask me how I am, and you wanted me to just, like, get past it and, like, move past it and, like, not be angry at my brother for doing, like, what happened. I was like, just makes me feel like, you know, you didn't care about me, and, like, I'm your other kid, you know? I don't know. And then, like, we ended up just talking, and, like, I got to hear her side perspective, being like, well, I just want my family to be, like, happy again. And I felt like just ignoring it would go away eventually, and, like, you guys would make up on your own. But, like, I see, like, it's a lot more, like, traumatizing than, like, what she, like, I guess essentially thought before. So I don't know, it was really nice because, like, I really got to, like, talk to her again. and see her. Sorry, I'm not getting emotional. But I got to see where she was coming from too, and like how she just wants her family to be whole again. But she got to see where I was coming from, where like, honestly, like I'm not probably going to talk to him for a really long time. Like maybe I'll learn more like skills to like be able to like move past it, but I don't know, like there's a lot of trauma there too, and like I think this was a really like good first step to see our family start to heal. Sorry. But you know, this exercise was, you know, it was really hard to do, but I also feel like the only way you can get better at communicating and learning how to be a more empathetic listener and like being, you know, practice what you preach, like you have to put it into your own life and like really like take the moment to like breathe, calm down, be more in tune with your emotions, be more in tune with like your first judgments, your first reactions, and just be more conscientious of what you say and what you do. So, because I feel like if I never, you know, started the conversation with my mom, like I would have thought that she just didn't care, when that's not really the case. And she thought I was just mad at her and like I didn't care about her, but that's not the case either. It's just, you know, at the end of the day, like what did they say in one of the articles? It was like everyone has different positions, but when you really find out, like we all more have like, when it's interest based, it's like it's all different. Like she felt upset about, you know, like our family not talking, and like she thought we could just move past it and things like that, but she just didn't see where I was coming from, and I didn't see that she was just really stressed out because, you know, she doesn't really know what to do, you know, because we both live at the house again. So I don't know, I just feel like when you start to like see things from other people's perspectives and put yourself in other people's shoes, it's like you can actually have a conversation rather than like an argument. And even when things are high risk like that, like very high emotions and things, like take a minute and just like compose yourself to like say like, hey, this is how I feel because of this. And like I forgot, one of the videos we watched this week was like, well, you really can't argue with someone when they say like, well, I feel this way when you did this action or when this occurred, because like your feelings are how you feel, not how, they're not like objective, you know, like this is how I feel. But overall, like I really appreciate like the exercise we had to do. So I didn't mean to cry before. I was just like, I'm still a little like traumatized from that thing that happened, but I am glad that like I use these exercises and like put it, you know, in like my actual life. So I'm excited to read and listen to everyone else's videos. Yeah, I feel like what we've been learning is like really useful in like all aspects of life, not just within like friends or relationships or family. Like you can use this with those and then like your job and anything. So I feel a little embarrassed because I'm just like talking, kind of crying on my phone, but whatever. All right, guys. Well, I guess I'll see you guys later. Bye.